Yeah, but I don't understand how composition exactly works here, because I don't think you can compose it in otherwise, you know, the same way you
The
can do that
question
with
is,
physical.
guys, why I made this question? Because theists use the contingency argument to prove the non-existence, the existence of God, and they say that God is the necessary being. Yet, one of the requirements to define the necessary being is he could not have been any other way. Is that true, though? Because God could have been eternal ways other than what he is. He couldn't have been powerful. He couldn't have been intelligent. He couldn't have.
Mm.
Maybe he wouldn't loved Mohammed. Maybe he
Yeah,
eternal things. That is my
So,
objection.
so obviously,
yeah.
son. Wait, wait.
I think that's
I
straight.
wanna ask you something. I wanna ask you something. I mean, if you don't mind.
Of course.
So, this necessary being, could he have not been necessary?
Yes. Uh, if you are
Okay, well,
referring, no, no, no.
that's a contradiction.
Yes, yes, I agree. I made a mistake. So I already accept the necessity for a necessary being. I already accept that. So
Okay, is necessity an attribute?
It's property, yeah.
yes,
Yeah,
but
well, I'm not asking you, Gene.
what I'm saying now is that now we need to investigate what is more probable to be this necessary being or existence.
Wait. So, obviously, son, I asked you a question. With all due respect,
Yes, of
you
course.
can't
Tell
just
me.
ignore it, please.
Tell me.
So, is necessity an attribute?
Necessity in attributes. Um, okay, let me. What that necessary existence or being should have. It should be inevitable there. Couldn't have been any other way, and uncaused, and everything else is caused from this. So everything depends on this necessary being, but this necessary being or existence doesn't depend on anything. So that is the definition of a necessary being. Every other qualities we add are unnecessary. So we don't. In other words, consciousness is not necessary in my opinion.
So, wait. So, are you saying that only necessity is necessary?
The the holiness. Can you repeat that, sir? Sorry about that. Is my English are not that good.
I'm not I'm not sure I get. It's either relevant to the
No.
topic, or like I don't get it. So, like, are you
Yes,
saying
yes.
that necessity is just like the only possible necessary thing? Just necessity?
Yeah. Okay, let me ask you a question in order to clear and simplify that. What you think are the characteristics of a necessary existence? What are those things that a necessary existence should have in order to be the necessary
Well,
existence?
sure. So, I guess, like, conventionally we would say it has to be one. It
Why?
has to always exist. Why it has to be one?
Yeah, one in a. What I'm trying to say, yes, maybe it's a kind of environment. Okay,
What?
because
Say that again?
sir, one is it depends on the perspective. For example, an environment, a dynamic environment, is that one? I don't know. An environment is that one environment?
But 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 wait, yeah, it is one. But that has nothing to do with the like it's just one
Okay, okay. Let's accept that.
one thing that characterizes the necessary existence is it's not the only thing. If you get what I mean.
Yeah, but one is very secondary. In other words, very secondary.
Like
It doesn't need to
like
be
it's
one.
necessary. Yeah.
Why it
No,
doesn't need
it
to be
does
one?
need to be one
Why?
because, uh, like you said, one of the definitions of necessary being is something that could not have been any other way. So if you get existence one and existence two, and they are both necessary, let's say, and they both could not have been any other way. So there is literally nothing that distincts existence one from existence too.
Yes.
There is nothing that makes them distinct. Therefore, they're not different. If there is nothing that makes them disquenchable.
Yeah, I understood what you said. First of all, very nice, very well said, very nice argument, what you just said. But the necessary being, when I say it couldn't have been any other way, it refers of being a brute fact. So we might have more than one brute fact. So, for example, or it can be some kind of, environment.
I think this is a fallacy of you're just using different categories. Sure, like facts are necessary, truth is necessary, right? But does it mean that suddenly, like, because here we're talking about an existence, not talking about like a concept. If you get what I mean.
Are numbers? Let me ask you something.
You're equivocating two things. Yeah, sorry.
Sorry about that, sir. Are numbers necessary? Are numbers, because many Muslim apologists claim that numbers are necessary facts. For example,
no, they claim logic is necessary.
Yes, so
logical proposition.
Okay, numbers are one.
So Socrates, this is what I mean. You're making a fallacy of equivocation. You're equivocating existence with concepts.
Okay.
Like these are concepts, right?
Okay, you're right.
And
okay,
they do.
Yes, I agree. Okay, let's go to cosmology. Yes, let's go to cosmology then. Let's forget the mind. But that's also some kind of contradiction, because supposedly God might be a spirit or a mind. But anyway, let's go to cosmology, because I agree with you. We need to the contingency argument is a cosmological argument. Therefore, we need to investigate its probability in cosmology, in the real world, in other words, not in the minds. Okay, so I agree with that. But as I said, when I say it couldn't have been any other way, I am referring that this being a brute fact. In other words, it's a brute fact. Nobody made it that way. It's a brute fact. But theoretically, although I'm not sure, I need to think about this, maybe there are more than one brute facts. Either way, that is a very secondary thing, being one or not. The more important things that we need to investigate is being inevitable there and could not have been any other way. This is what we need to investigate. Why we go directly to being one? I mean, it's like driving the argument to fit to Tahid. So it's unnecessary. So the first thing we need to investigate is whether this necessary being could not have been any other way. Could Allah have been any other way? This is my question.
Well, I would say no.
Why? Why though? You are committing the special pleading logical fallacy. Why?
Not
why
really.
you think?
Can you tell me why I'm doing that? Can you please tell me?
Okay.
How am I? Wait 1 second. I have to talk to my dad.
Yes.
Socrates.
Yes.
So, what makes you think that God could have been any other way?
Let me explain. Okay, guys, when we are investigating an argument, we cannot insert our theological descriptions in the argument. Like, for example,
Right. I agree with that. But what makes you think that my theology or my
let me tell you, because
incoherent?
Yes, because Allah has specific character. He's got specific qualities. He's got specific sensibility. For example, He loves Muhammad. Could Allah have not loved Muhammad? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, so He could have been any other way.
No, sorry. Just 1 second. 1 second. That's not. It's so we believe that it's an action, right? So when it says that God loves someone, it just means that He's preparing something good for him. It doesn't mean that He has something within him that makes him really love him in an emotional, actual sense.
You know what confuses people? This thing confuses most of people who are making this argument. They are confused with the theological definitions with cosmology. With
Yeah,
I'm
but
back. Can you
Socrates.
please repeat?
So,
What's the Jane? What's the
yeah, sorry,
contingency?
Socrates.
yes,
Um, uh, so,
I'm losing you. I cannot. Maybe your internet. I don't know. I cannot hear you.
Oh, what
so
do
I
you mean?
was saying,
I can hear him well.
Ah, you can
yeah,
hear
no, no.
him.
So,
Okay, now I
so
can hear
yes.
you.
So let me ask Socrates.
Yes.
What makes you say that God could have been any other way? So give me a
O-
property that you think it could have been otherwise.
okay. God has eternal qualities, specific qualities, and character that could have been any other way. For example, there is a probability that they could have been other way. For example,
Right, right.
Allah likes some things and hates some things, but that could have been
No,
any other way. Or for
Oh, I
example,
disagree.
yeah, that's not property. That's not
Yeah,
attribute.
I don't even believe in that.
what
Yeah,
you,
so let's stick to power, for example, right? God is powerful. He has power.
okay?
So, what makes you think that he could have been not powerful?
Because that is a cosmological probability. What always exists,
Right.
sir.
So now here's the thing, right? Sorry, but here's the thing that's I think that's a logical fallacy. So you're shifting from different modal scopes to infer another one. So, for example, you're saying that we don't know, maybe God could have been not powerful, but that's not a logical or metaphysical possibility. That's an epistemic one, and from that you're inferring a metaphysical and logical possibility, which is fallacious, essentially.
No, no. Okay. In cos, as
So
I
when you
said,
say probability, so probability,
yes.
listen, probability as an epistemic possibility, you can't
What I'm saying is okay. We need to
work with it. It
investigate.
doesn't.
You said something about probability. We need to
Right.
investigate the probability of a specific of a person with specific character, with specific qualities, always exist inevitably without explanation. And now I'm posing the question. Okay,
Oh, there is an explanation.
okay. God, Allah must exist inevitably without explanation. Isn't that right? Okay.
No,
No.
because he's so his being, his very being explains itself. Contingent things are explained by other things, and necessary things are explained by virtue of their own necessity.
Yes. Yes, but now we are investigating whether it is probable him to be the necessary being. What you are doing now, you
Yeah,
already.
how do you investigate?
Yes.
Socrates, sorry to cut you off, but how
Never
did
mind.
you, three modal scopes, and you tell me which one you're working with.
Yes.
So there is something called epistemic possibility. Are you familiar with that?
Yes. Yes.
So yeah, so it's something like when you say, oh, maybe I don't know, maybe Jeffrey will come tomorrow, maybe he won't. That's something, but
Yeah.
our own knowledge, we don't know, don't have any knowledge about it. It's
Yes.
something we infer a priori, if you wish.
Yes.
And
Let me
then
respond to
there
that. I
is
understand what
something
you
like,
said, and you are right. But let me respond to that.
yeah, sorry, but let me present to the other two ones. Something like it's called logical possibility. So, for example, when you say that 2 plus 2 equals 4 is a necessary fact, that's logical proposition. It means that that truth is necessary by virtue of the logic of it. So when you say that unicorns can exist, that's something uh, that's possibility because there is nothing logically incoherent about the concept of unicorns, etc. And then there is metaphysical possibility, which is something really hard to explain. It's more about the thing itself. The same way you say that the triangle have three sides. That's uh, that's something entailed by the ontology of the triangle itself. Oh, when you say that God
The
exists
funny
necessarily,
thing is that
maybe
like sorry.
maybe you could say God exists necessarily. You could say that it's not a logical necessity, but I could say, but it's a metaphysical necessity entailed by the being itself.
We are losing you,
Right.
sir.
So the question is, yes. Now the question is, right, from which model scope uh, of these three you're working, you're starting.
Yes.
Are you using a logical possibility or a epistemic? There are other ones, but I don't think they're relevant.
Okay, okay. Very nice question. Very nice question. And you explained that very nicely. I couldn't have explained that so nicely. Okay. So, as you said, okay, first we need to investigate whether God is logically impossible, whether he contradicts some kind of logic. I don't think that God contradicts directly some kind of logic. So, he is not logically impossible. Now, what I am doing is I'm going out from logic now and I'm referring to cosmology. Why I'm doing that? Because the contingency
Right,
argument,
that's etymological.
yes. So I'm going out from logic. Now I already admitted, conceive that God is not, doesn't contradict logic in a direct way. So we can now investigate.
Right.
What I'm doing now is, okay, I accept the necessity for a necessary being. Now, now I'm going to cosmology and I'm investigating the probabilities. So I say, is it probable a being with this kind of characteristics existing inevitably? In a cosmological sense. Imagine me being a scientist and having some
Yeah,
kind
but
of. Okay.
sorry, but what kind of possibility is that? Since you have ruled out logical possibility, are you using epistemic one or metaphysical one, or are you even using other ones like?
Epistemic one. Epistemic.
Right, but that's the point though. You can't infer from epistemic possibility that God is that Allah, for example, is metaphysically impossible. That doesn't work.
Yes, I see what you say now because I was referring to God's character and so on. But when we are
Right.
talking, yes, but when we are talking about God, okay, when we are talking about reality, God is not an idea. God needs to exist in reality. For example, if we say that God exists in our minds, that doesn't mean he exists. Maybe God exists in the minds of Muslims. That doesn't mean he exists. So when we are to investigate whether actually God exists, we need to investigate whether God exists actually in reality, not in the minds of people. So in reality, think of it logically. Okay, so what is the probability a specific being with specific things, characteristics? Let me give you an analogy to understand what I mean. What is the probability a
Yeah,
knife?
sorry, but yeah, no,
Mm.
but you can't say uh, I really don't understand how is your argument really valid because you were asking how what's the epistemic possibility of this concept X, and
Yes.
then you're inferring from that that it is an impossible metaphysically concept. Wait,
I'm not saying it's impossible. Although uh, at the moment I'm saying that is highly unlikely. Although the probabilities are so low that it makes it impossible because of. Anyway, so let me try to formulate my argument because um, and you can correct me if I'm making some kind of error. Okay, why an iPhone cannot always exist? Why it is improbable to always exist as an inevitable thing? Why an iPhone is improbable?
yeah, what makes it improbable?
Exactly, that is what I'm asking. Why, when we say, an iPhone always existed inevitably, why that is not a good argument?
Mhm.
Why? Tell me.
Because okay, I would say that there would be an infinite regress of a certain set of things which is not possible. It goes against my own metaphysics.
No, the iPhone goes against the
It
metaphysics.
goes against our inductive, reasoning. But there is other than that, I can't give you anything. Really impossible.
I say that an iPhone in the cosmological level is improbable to always exist because an iPhone has certain kind of purpose. Okay, so if you see an iPhone, you understand somebody made it for a purpose. So it's purposeful. It's purposely full. So you see an iPhone.
Wait. So, I mean, God, I guess you could say God's power has a purpose. That doesn't mean it's created.
Yes, we didn't reach to God now. So, for example, what is the design argument? For example, there was an old argument that theists used to use that say, imagine you were walking in a beach and suddenly you see a clock on the beach. When you see the clock, you immediately understand that this thing was made for a purpose. It's not naturally made. It's made for a purpose. It shows a time. So it reminds that it's intelligibly. So in that sense, the first thing when you see the iPhone, you say, that is not probable to always exist inevitably because I can see some kind of purpose in this iPhone. Okay, it's meant to communicate something. Okay, the second thing is that the iPhone is very complicated. It has parts that are complicated. Okay, so for function. So you say, how come an iPhone always exists? And it has so many complicated parts. It's not probable. The other thing. Okay, so.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
So the reason I'd say an iPhone doesn't eternally exist is for multiple reasons other than what you said. One of them is my own religion, the other is my own metaphysics, and the third one would be there would be an infinite regress which goes against a certain set of beliefs I have. But other than that, now here is something that I'll propose for you. So God have his own attributes that are metaphysically necessary, and they are inseparable in a metaphysically necessary way. The same way you say that a triangle has three sides that can be separated.
No, it's not the same, sir. Because let me explain why. Because
why is that the same though?
Because
metaphysical necessary. It's easier to deal with it. It's harder to deal with it. Sorry.
That's very important to communicate. That's very important, guys, because that was my first objection when I saw the contingency argument. When the contingency argument says that God is necessary, it implies necessary to explain what we see today. It doesn't imply it's necessary metaphysically. So a triangle is necessary metaphysically in the minds. Okay, so God is not this kind of category. God is necessary to explain what we see today. So this is a very huge distinction. Yes, because God is a complicated being with specific character and specific qualities that cannot be necessary like a triangle or like a.
The thing is, I don't mind saying that God is logically not logically necessary, because I still have metaphysical necessity that I can work with.
From where you get this necessity? From your theology, isn't
my
that
own
right?
Metaphysics, my own religion.
From your exactly from your religion. So you don't have a good reason. You just name that.
No. The thing is, we can argue for its attributes such as will and power. We can do that. But we can't infer things metaphysically from a pure logical basis, or even cosmological one.
Sir, let me ask you something. Do you know what the special pleading logical fallacy means? Do you know?
Yeah, but how is it special pleading though?
Yes, special pleading is you don't apply because what theists do.
How?
Yes. So you can, if you don't want to apply, you cannot investigate everything in a cosmological way, and when it comes to your God, suddenly you apply your religion, your theological definitions. Because I can also
Yeah,
say
that's not
that.
how
I can say my religion of atheism says that nothing is necessary. Okay, so I can also say that my religion of
Yeah.
atheism, let's say that nature is necessary. So that's not a good
Yeah, so
argument.
I'm not.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the thing is, contingency, the cosmological argument from contingency, it starts from contingent
Yeah, we already
contingent
surpassed
of the
that
what
level.
seem
Say,
to be doing is to do a kind of Neoplatonic argument from partialism, and I simply can reject that, right?
yeah. So, yes, but now what we did, we went back to the first part of the contingency argument. Accept the necessity for a necessary being. I already accept that. Now we are in the second part of the contingency argument. Investigate if this necessary being is God. This is what we need to do now. To investigate whether
Yeah.
this necessary
So the
being is
thing
God.
is, Socrates. So I still don't know how can you rule out the metaphysical necessity of attributes like power and will and knowledge,
Why? Tell me.
etc.
Why?
Sorry,
Why? Those are
why what?
why those are necessary? I mean, ultimate power. Why? I don't see any reason.
No, but I told you we can argue for some of them, and we can just make a leap of them to others. But how can you metaphysically rule them out? If you say that they are logically impossible, then and you argue for that,
No,
then
no, I'm
that
not
would
saying
be
they are
an even
logical.
better case.
I'm not.
Yeah,
No, no,
yeah. The thing is saying that they are logically impossible
no. It's
is
the
at least
complete
more
opposite.
is at least not as vague as what you're trying to portray.
No. I'm not saying they are logically impossible. I'm saying
I
that
know.
they are not logically necessary. That's a huge difference.
Yeah, but and I told you that I don't really care if they are logically necessary or not. I'm saying that they are metaphysically necessary, and I'm fine with that.
Yes. Why? Why? But you didn't establish that
Yeah,
because
no, but I told you though. I told you that we can argue for some of these attributes like will and power, and
yes.
we can just make a leap of faith to others, like hearing
Yes.
and seeing.
Yes, but look now.
So for example, so here's the thing. So if I say that I can prove that this necessary being has will, and I give you a set of logical arguments, and then I tell you, if Islam is true, then this necessary being would also, so this necessary being would, one, be compatible with Islam, and two, it would have the other properties that we can logically deduce, such as hearing and seeing and maybe knowledge.
Yes, but that okay, exactly. You are going directly to the point. Okay, so exactly the reason.
But I do have reasons to believe in that.
Yes, but
I'm not saying
yes.
I'm making a leap of faith.
Yes, but wait just a moment, because now you know what you are doing.
Yes.
You are saying you said that it's compatible with Islam. Isn't that what you
Yes.
say? So yes. So
Yeah.
what you are doing?
So one sec. Sorry. But so here's my claim. What we can do from logic and cosmology is to infer that God exists, and what we can do through Quran and Sunnah is give additional attributes to make
Okay, but what I've
so Allah and
yes, but what I've seen that is my objection. So that is my main objection with the Muslims who make this argument. That is my main objection,
Yeah.
which is you cannot drive definitions from your theology to a cosmological argument. The contingency argument is a cosmological argument. So you need to investigate the probability God exists in some kind of reality, in some kind of cosmology. Okay, but the argument that fits with my theological definition doesn't play any role in the probability of God existing in reality. So, what actually plays a role if God exists in reality is to investigate the complexity of God. Because the same way an iPhone is not probable to always exist, because it's complex and purposeful, The same way God is not probable to always exist because he's very it implies complexity, purpose, all these kind of things that are not probable to always exist without explanation. So God, if you take the God claim in a cosmological sense and you don't apply the special pleading logical fallacy, you understand that God is not probable to always exist inevitably and could not have been any other way. And more than that, if you apply all the let me finish, I'm finishing in 1 second, in one thing. And if you apply the argument that the more complex is something is less probable to always exist without explanation, then you get that because God has eternal complexity, that means he is eternally improbable, therefore impossible. That is my argument.
First of all, you're making a lot of mistakes here. So the way we imply design is not by saying, well, it's complex. It's not what we do at all. We say that its complexity allows for a specific function, right?
Yeah.
And like they're basically function and complexity are not necessarily they're not mutually exclusive, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So if you have complexity that if you have a low complexity, does not mean you have no function, and if you have a lot of function, does not mean you have a lot of complexity. For example, you can have like a shaving knife. Is that what they call it? Like a shaving knife, a razor, right? It's simple, right? It has one part, but it can do the function of so many tools, right? We have today, right? It does the tool of like a electric razor. I actually have like three. Let me show you.
I understand this argument. So yes, but that's not a direct analogy because both the razor and the electric razor are operated by us, by humans. So the complexity comes from our body. So that's not a good analogy because. So let me return, sir. Sir,
I'm not explaining well because my English is very limited, but I'll show you.
No, I understand what you mean. I understand.
No, you didn't. I don't think you did.
Sir, I saw a Muslim apologist made this argument. I understood what he meant. There is.
You didn't. I'm sure you didn't. So let me just explain it really quick.
Yeah. Okay. I'm saying yes. Very nice. We are full technology, guys. I like that. Yes. Let me try to.
1 second.
Yes.
Here it is.
Yes.
So
yes,
you
I know.
see this? You see this? What does this do? What does it do?
It saves.
What? No. What does it shave though?
The beard.
Not really. Not really. So what this does is it literally only shaves like really, really small hairs.
Oh, I see. Yes.
It's only a function, right? Yes. But it's way more complex. It's way more complex than just it has a lot of parts. It's way more complex than a simple razor, right? Yeah. But it has limited function. It is still valuable.
Show me your face.
Shut up! I'm not gonna show my face. So you get what I mean, right? So even though it's more complex than a razor, it does less functions.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yes.
It's just like you can.
I understand the argument.
I go. Yeah, that's all. Let's go on.
Nice argument. So there are two things that can be said about this. First of all, this thing makes its job that it's meant to do very fast and very specifically and very efficiently. Okay. So that is not against of what I'm saying, because if God needs to do specific things very efficiently, like he does, he must have some kind of structure or essence that supports this quality. Secondly, the razor, the other razor, the example of the simple razor, you forgot something in this exegesis, the human part. In both cases, we are using them. So now
they both require human hand. That doesn't mean like.
Of course, it means
that doesn't mean that one like they're not complex or whatever.
Yes.
So I think you missed the point. My point is complexity does not equal function. and function as well is not equal complexity. That's all.
Of course.
So God can have a lot of functions without being complex. It's very,
No.
it's not like
That's the most fundamental thing. I will give you one analogy. That is the most fundamental thing that no one can go around. Okay, that is more fundamental than anything. The most difficult thing than anything in philosophy. Function or qualities defines must have some kind of essence that support these qualities. Let me give you an example. Do you know Hussein Bolt, the runner? You know the runner.
his name is Hussein.
Yes, the runner. Okay.
Well, yeah, whenever I see him running, I'm like, well, this person could have like outran his players, but it's a different time. But if you know what I mean.
Yeah. So
What, you really laughed at that? Did you really just laugh at that?
no.
Wow, you're so racist, bro. Well, I digress.
No. I'm trying to. Anyway, so okay, so imagine Hussein Bolt, the runner. He must do 100 meters. Let's say we ask him to do 100 meters in 11 seconds. He already has done that. Imagine now we ask him to do eternal meters in 0 seconds. At the same time, let's cut him his feet. Now we made him to do that impossible. Okay, so you cannot say that qualities cannot be supported by any essence. That's the most fundamental thing that cannot happen. Nothing cannot speak.
Say that, though.
Sir,
We explicitly say that God's attributes are grounded in His essence, but does it mean that His essence has parts? His essence does not have parts.
yeah, but that's
Yeah.
that is improbable, sir. That you drive from your
Okay.
definition.
We don't use inductive arguments for God, though. You can say why is it improbable though? Why is it improbable?
That is improbable in cosmology, sir. It's probable in your theology or in your mind, because that is the number one rule that you cannot go around. The number one rule in cosmology.
No, but
I don't believe you can
we can
use
say that.
cosmology on God, bro. Come on.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, good. So,
let me ask something. Why the universe cannot come from nothing? Why the universe cannot come from nothing? And you all Muslim apologists bolster and shout and say,
Yeah,
good. They do that for good reasons. I'm not accusing
I
them.
do that as well. I do that
Yeah,
as well.
because the
It's not
causal
that's
principle.
why atheists are wrong, and they believe in myths and magic and silly magic.
Okay.
Yeah, because the causal principle is an a priori principle. It's
guys,
an intuitive one.
if you accept that a universe cannot come from nothing, and you are doing good to accepting that, you must accept then the same exact logic is that God cannot do everything without having anything supporting what He's doing. So God cannot be nothing and do
What?
everything. Can God be nothing and do everything?
No.
Okay,
Because
the
God is
same
not
way that
nothing.
God
He
cannot.
can do everything.
Okay, with the same logic, God cannot be one unified thing and do everything. That contradicts the same logic.
No. So you seem to be when you say a one unified thing, you seem to be talking about a absolute
Unless,
simple essence.
yes, simplicity, divine. I'm attacking divine simplicity, like right now. Yes,
Yeah,
divine
absolute divine
simplicity.
simplicity. Yeah,
Yes,
is that what you were talking about?
yeah, I'm attacking divine simplicity. That's for me. It's absurd.
Right, but you don't believe in it. Yeah, but what we don't believe in it.
You don't believe
Yeah,
that?
divine simplicity is kind of cringe.
Yeah,
It's
so I
cringy.
agree that an absolutely simple essence. I don't think it makes sense for it to be able to do multiple
Okay.
functions by virtue of one.
Wait, what do you mean? Really? I actually
Yeah.
spoke to Salafi about this, and I had a question in mind at the time. I told him, how come there are multiple attributes but just one essence? He told me, why is that not possible? I was like, yeah, you're right. It's not an argument. Why is that an argument?
No. I said. So what I said is, I don't think it makes sense for one absolutely simple essence to have multiple functions or to be able to do multiple
Yeah.
categorically distinct functions.
Yeah.
And that's why I believe that attributes are real, because by virtue of these attributes, it will be allowed to do multiple functions like knowing and doing things, and
Yeah. Yeah.
other
I agree
theological
with
things like
Zin.
hearing
Zin,
and
Zin,
seeing.
you are right. Because now Zin is using logic, and that contradicts that God being one unified thing without
Yeah, but we
anything.
don't believe in that anyways.
It's usually it's something that atheists never do. They don't use logic, in my humble opinion.
Yeah, but we don't. Yeah, sorry, Socrates, but we don't believe in absolute divine simplicity. So I don't under. So there's something I don't understand here. So how can you rule out that God is metaphysically necessary and his attributes are, inseparable in a metaphysically necessary way? The same way, you say that a triangle have
Yes.
three parts.
Let me answer that. Okay. First of all,
Yeah, so the triangle and its three parts have, share this the
yes.
same kind of
Okay. Let
necessity,
me explain
you know.
from where the logical absolutes actually derive. Okay.
Yeah,
So
now
let
what
me
you're
explain.
doing, so sorry,
Because
sorry, sorry. Yeah,
okay.
sorry, Socrates, sorry. But what you seem to be doing is saying that, oh, God is complex, therefore he must be contingent.
Yes.
But I
Exactly.
don't think that makes sense, in an ontological a priori any
Yes. But for
or type of way you
Actually, that literally just shows that you don't understand the arguments from design. Because if you read any like Stephen May's book, for example, they time and time again they repeat themselves. They say this is not just about complexity. This is not just about function. It's the mixture between the two. That's what allows you to have a conclusion. If you have just one, either complexity or function, that gives you no conclusion at all.
yes. Yes. But you know what I've noticed? That's why
yeah,
they forget
sorry, in addition
completely.
to
Wait,
that.
wait. Now guys, we are discussing this issue, but what Muslim apologists do, the popular ones, what they are doing is they are forgetting completely the basic things that they need to investigate, and go directly to will. He has will, he can choose. He's one, and go directly to one. So in other words, they drive the argument to the things that fits their case, and they don't see the things that doesn't fit their case. Now about
No,
the
but we do
logical
have
absolutes, which is very important, guys. The logical absolutes, from where you drive the logical absolutes, you drive them from the order of our mind. In other words, we are making mental pictures. One can only be one, or an apple can only be an apple, because we in our mind we make a mental photograph of an apple, and we say A is A. Okay, so we drive the connection. A God is a complicated concept that is not necessary for the mind to work. Is a God necessary for the mind to work? No, it doesn't reflect order. So it's not like the law of non-contradiction, that if you don't, you go insane if you don't think of it. So this is how we understand this kind of basic logical absolutes. Because if you don't agree with logical absolutes, you go insane, literally. If you don't accept A is A, you go insane. If you don't accept numbers, you go insane. But if you don't accept God, you don't go insane. It's not basic logic, it's not a fundamental part of logic. So in that sense, it's not inevitable in a Platonic sense. So the reason now they are confusing that, and they say that's why they're making this error that I pointed out the first time I saw the contingency argument. I said, necessary for what? And they go and say necessary to explain the universe, not necessary for logic to exist. That is the sleight of hand they are doing. Okay, so that is so
yeah,
that
but
yeah.
no, but sorry, but from what I know, few philosophers and even apologists actually claim that God is logically necessary.
Yes, but they are wrong, my dear sir. Okay,
Sorry?
yes, but they are wrong. When they say God is necessary, they are jumping logical spheres. They are making an error, logical error.
Yeah, but they don't. Generally speaking, they don't use, as I said, logical necessity, but they use metaphysical necessity, which are two distinct concepts
Okay.
and models.
Exactly. But the metaphysical necessity, yes. Okay,
Yes.
so that's another conversation. So we need God for
No, but
rationality to
the
work.
thing is, that's the same conversation I'm having. So that's the same conversation I'm trying to have. So here's what I'm trying to do, right? So we say we have so we can infer that there is
Yes.
a based on there is a necessary thing. And now what can we do from this? We can infer that that this necessary being has a will and has some attributes like will and power, and it is one and things like that. And then I say, oh, Islam seems to be true because of such and such reasons. Therefore, what it says about the additional things that it says about the necessary being should be actually true. Therefore, this therefore God is not only has does not only have the will and knowledge and power. It would also have additional things like um, hearing and seeing and all these additional attributes.
Sir,
So what I'm doing is logically arriving at it.
okay. Yes, I see. I see. But now
But
you
I'm
are.
not saying that it is a fundamentally logical. So I'm not saying that it is uh, a logical law
I
like two
understand.
plus two equals definitely necessary, but I think it's metaphysically
Okay.
necessary because
And now,
the reason is maybe yeah. Go on.
yes, sorry. Ironically, now you made what I was trying to say after. So, metaphysical necessity is actually
Yes.
the best argument for the existence of God. Now, listen to what I'm saying. Okay, the best argument for the existence of God is this kind of duality of the metaphysical level with the natural level, and moreover, this kind of metaphysical necessity. Okay, so the best argument you need to investigate, my dear friends, about the existence of God is not the contingency argument. Why is not the contingency argument? Because the contingency argument is a cosmological argument. So you are playing in the field of naturalist. Okay, so
No.
but the best argument, let me tell you, the best argument is what you
Yeah.
described right now. You need to investigate God, implying that the metaphysics is at the center of reality. This is your strong part, and this is what you need to explore. That this is the good argument for God. That metaphysics, minds, in other words, the mind of God is at the center of reality. So this is what you need to investigate. I don't think the contingency argument is a strong argument.